another 5 minutes here. Just, I mean, if you're comfortable there, that's cool. How's everybody's business doing? Good stuff? Everybody moving forward? I'm getting nods. That means yeah. Big, you know, moving a yard at a time or 10 yards at a time? Some are 10, some are a yard. All right, that's all right. Sometimes inches. That's what it's going to take. As long as you get momentum. All right. So those of you who I don't know, I'm Eric Arndt. I started SCV Startup a year ago, and the idea was to bring knowledge and mentorship to Santa Clarita Valley. And because there's a lot of talent here, there's a lot of great ideas here, and we wanted to create a startup community where successful technology companies could be conceived and then be launched. And we can create this community where we could start to develop this talent and over time create even more startups. And so over the past year, we've had now, I think, 14 startups, meetups. We actually did Startup Weekend last weekend, which was a blowout success. It was amazing. We haven't met SCV Startup in 2 months, which is weird because we were meeting at least every month, and I was kind of missing you guys. So, but it hasn't gone to sleep. So in that time, we've been approached for two incubator spaces that want to put us in there. One venture fund that is now moving along pretty steadily, as well as an accelerator program. They want to bring in a framework to give us to develop our startups a little bit further. So a lot is cooking behind the scenes, and so I really enjoy getting together every month so you guys can kind of get to know what's happening. But in 2013, what we're going to have set up for SCV Startup is going to be outstanding. It's going to be amazing. So hang in there. Real quickly, we had a birthday last month. John Carter turned 31.
Actually, it was my 39th anniversary of my 30th year.
So let's wish John Carter happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right. So a few weekends ago, we had Startup Weekend. Who here attended? Was it a rockin' success or what? Was it kick? Yeah, it was amazing, right? So those of you who don't know about it, what we did was we took over the town center space right in front of the mall, the old bikini shop, Diane's Beachwear, and we got 43 top designers, developers, programmers, got them together, entrepreneurs, and we launched, from 22 ideas, we launched 7 new companies by Sunday night, 54 hours later. It was amazing. So a lot of people said that you couldn't do something like that in Santa Clarita, but we did it. Some people said if you did do it, you wouldn't launch anything of credible source, but we did. We launched 7 amazing companies, and we're going to hear from one of the winners tonight in just a few minutes. That weekend, not only did we launch 7 new startups, we had an indie film come in. And this company is shooting footage around the world, startup communities that are popping up, and they're having startup events. So they were just in Kenya before they shot here in Santa Clarita, which is amazing. And they said in Kenya, the number of startup events is even more frequent than we have here. So don't we have a ways to go? Is that amazing? The amount of talent and excitement around the startups in Kenya, they said was overwhelming. And then they came here and shot this event. He said he was blown away. We also streamed it live on the web through Influxus, which is also a local company. You could watch it live on the web and on your mobile device, which is amazing. They couldn't be here tonight. And then the winners of Startup Weekend were Zjup, Early Bird, and Demanded Space. So I'd like to hear from Zjup, if you can give us a couple of minutes on your experience at Startup Weekend.
I'd love to.
And then maybe what you've accomplished since 3 weeks ago.
I'd love to.
All right.
I'm going to stand up a bit.
Hey guys, this is Michael from Zjup.
Thank you. My name is Michael LaRue. A little bit of background. I'm a former aerospace engineer, and I had a lot of fun doing that. B-2 bomber, shuttle, a lot of satellite programs, a couple of ground stations. But unfortunately, it's a very cyclical industry, and sometimes you get reduction in funding and programs go up and down. So I was laid off a while ago. I don't want to say how long ago. But since then, I've been engaged in the process of kind of reinventing myself and retooling myself. So I've been adding to my systems engineering skills as a software developer, using open source, Linux, Java, variety of, anything that's free, it gets my attention. And I got a really great mentor. Part of the trajectory, though, was to learn, but also to be available for opportunities like Startup Weekend presented, which is let's start a business with just an idea. And so that's what happened is that I came to the weekend, pitched an idea. I had a couple of friends that I was working with, Joshua included. Joshua Maddox is my UX, UI guy, and outstanding young talent, homegrown from the Santa Clarita Valley. But anyway, starting from the idea for a social event planner, we just executed after that point. And personal experience, it was fantastic. I can't recommend it enough as an experience to learn what you're able to do as an individual, but also as a team, and also as part of a larger community, because I recognize a lot of people from the event, but this is the beginning of a community. So I think that's a really good thing. So we had our ups and downs during the weekend. There was a couple rough spots, but they were all great learning experiences. A couple technical challenges, a couple management challenges, but basically we stayed on course, and we really had a great result in the win. A couple of things that happened during the weekend that surprised me was the importance of the mentors that came in and the coaches who gave a variety of input. They said, go out and validate, talk to customers. They had great input for your design, your graphics. So that all really helped out. And one of the most important things I found out was the value of going out and talking to potential users. So we were in the mall, and our little team went out and fact-finding, and we were actually able to incorporate some features that came in from the suggestions from talking to potential users. And that was a real interesting thing to me. But since I've learned that that's a great aspect of the lean startup methodology, is to always get in contact with your customers and fold in feedback as soon as possible. So that was a real good takeaway. Of course, the win was a great thing. The product changed a little bit from a basic planner with quorum and status at the beginning. It evolved into something that was a little bit more than that, because we're going to start adding more things like chat or time deconfliction.
Location-based service. Location-based service as well.
Yeah, anything that moves into that. And so that is also part of what the exciting thing that lays ahead, is to really discover what distinguishes the potentiality of this idea in that marketplace. And one thing I'm really emphasizing is that lean startup method. So we're not going to add a feature until it's starts as a hypothesis, whether it's a value or a growth hypothesis. Then we're going to test it, and then we're going to get feedback. And it only becomes a feature if someone, if our community thinks that it's going to be worthwhile. What's happened since the weekend? I've been totally just learning as much as I can, because I'm getting ready for an initial meeting with venture capital on Wednesday with Clearstone, which is one of the prizes. Then I'll later meet with Fortis for a legal package on incorporation. So going from just being a humble aerospace engineer who does a certain kind of technical work a certain way, I now am thrust into this world of being a founder. And it's a great opportunity, but you have to learn a lot to do that. So I'm reading 5 books simultaneously now, and I've been talking to a number of mentors. Met with Eric and Brian. Voldy was really helpful as well. And I've met with Travis in Santa Monica. And it's just been a great ride. I'm excited. This is the future for me. That whole cube farm mentality of being an aerospace engineer, however sexy it sounds to work on the B-2 bomber or the space shuttle, that's old news. That's the way of the past, okay? The way of the future is to take responsibility for my well-being into the future. And if that means, getting some bruises on my knees or getting scuffed elbows or something, or rough and tumble, whatever it takes, this is my future, and it's exciting. is also excited to be part of this community in Santa Clarita Valley with the help of the friends that I've made here. So it's looking nothing but great ahead. So thank you for letting me share this update about ZJU. So that's it.
Good job, Mike. You know, Michael's, he's real humble. I remember, it was like 6 months ago you started coming here,
In the summer,
and he
yeah.
was real quiet, just kind of, had no clue about startup. I think he misspelled startup a few times. And then he was a student. I just saw him come in, he wrote down everything. And one of the things I noticed was that startup weekend, we worked, so essentially those of you who don't know, we got together on Friday night, we pitched some ideas, drank a lot of beer, and then by like midnight or so, we kind of closed the doors, everybody came in the next day and then worked all day and on and on. Well, we left that night around, like I said, 12, and Mike was there, with his team. I came in with Starbucks on Saturday morning, and I was a little bit crusty, because it was like a late night. And I opened my door, and Mike was already there. That says a lot about how much you wanted to get out of this thing. I know there are other people there as well, but just a testament to you, buddy. That's great.
Eric, real fast, I was going to say, Mike, the graphic designer who was on our team, who I work with, he had never really heard of the startup weekend idea, and he was just like, so I'm going to spend a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and sort of waste my weekend on this type thing, and that was his attitude of it initially, and I was like, you got to really step back and sort of, at the end of it, Monday, I sat down with him and he was just like, this was incredible. He's like,
Really?
I learned more through the 3 days, and he goes, than I've learned in 6 months. And stuff that one or two of the different, there was one or two of the nuggets that one of the coaches would say, and he was just like, he's got a list of maybe a dozen things now that he's like, these few things, doing logo design or graphics layout or whatever, he's like, it's just key.
Wow.
In moving forward. And he was saying, from what his perspective was, he's like, initially he was looking at it as this sort of waste of his time, and at the end of it, he's like, it was
How do you explain it, right?
worth it in gold.
Yeah, good for you for getting them there. You touched upon the judges. We brought in judges from the industry to come in coaches to come in and coach the teams through the weekend. And we had Frequency Group come in, we had Voldy come in, we had some others come in, and the coaching was just fantastic. I know you've gone on and on about it. Michael's become like a little local celeb here in Santa Clarita, being featured in the Signal a couple times now, about the event and about what it's going to do for the economy and what startup. Again, people don't understand what that startup word means. They've seen this, the social network, and they think they picture a bunch of Zuckerbergs running around, but it's about the survival of the local economy. It's not just about throwing out a new Facebook, but it's about creating local jobs and local businesses and quality of life. So it's bigger than that. I think the city is starting to understand that. So maybe this might help. This is something the Signal put together. Oh, hold on. Bring knowledge and mentorship to early stage companies. We're sponsoring Startup Weekend here in Santa Clarita. Startup Weekend is a global foundation. The focus is to launch high-tech companies over a 54-hour period. And these are happening all over the world. Literally in Kenya, to Tel Aviv, to LA, Boston, DC, all over. And so we reached out to Startup Weekend and told them what we were working on. They were excited about the idea. They weren't so sure about the size of Santa Clarita, whether it could support a venue. So they told us to focus on, maybe 20 attendees. We shot high in an entrepreneurial fashion, and we went for 40. We sold out the event. So what happened here was we hosted 40 of the top entrepreneurs, designers, and developers. Most of them didn't know each other. They came in on Friday night. They pitched their individual ideas, and in a Survivor-esque type of show, only the top 8 were selected. So the top 8 were then allowed to go out and recruit teams from the crowd of 40. So they went out and aggressively pursued the designers they needed, the developers they needed, the marketing people, and they moved it from there. And one of them is focused on how to personalize the retail shopping experience in a way that hasn't been done before. Another is helping people to connect online so they can more creatively and effectively meet offline in group and friendly format. And another one that's real hot would be how to make Twitter, which is one of the most effective tools on the internet today, more effective. So here's an event that we weren't so sure we could actually get going, and we're already getting interest on buying tickets for an event that we want to do in 6 months that we haven't even announced yet. That's how amazing that was. And people on the street were stopping and saying, how do we get tickets for the next one? So great job, you guys. It's awesome. Another cool opportunity that opened up is 2 of the coaches from the event, from the frequency group, had so much fun and thought so much of the talent that attended the startup weekend. They've offered up to any startup that's part of SCV Startup a coaching session in Santa Monica with the frequency group. So the frequency group works with Fortune 500 and 100 companies, and they charge them outrageous prices. And some of those companies actually use the information and get better. Most of the companies, it's just like, it gets lost in some room. But these guys have been really effective doing that. And they came and coached, and again, they enjoyed it so much. So any startup that wants a 1-hour coaching session with the frequency, let me know. In that session, they will go through and they'll literally sit you at the table and they'll go through your idea and try to poke holes in it from every single standpoint of a business and try to see how they can help you move forward. So I know it was really effective. You guys went on and on about how effective Travis and Adam were. So I would take advantage of that. Let me know where your startup is, and we can talk a little bit about connecting with those guys. All right. Let's on to the main event. Gary Swart is currently the CEO of oDesk, the world's largest online marketplace. Last quarter, 7.4 million hours and $78 million was spent in Q1 2012. That's amazing. Gary is passionate about helping small businesses thrive, a passion born through his own entrepreneurial spirit and in IBM's Rational Software product group, where he led SMB sales for the Americas. He also previously acted as VP of Worldwide Sales at a telebank. I just heard that story earlier, where we talked a little bit about Mark Suster from Launchpad, right? Mm-hmm. Where he was responsible for leading the sales organization. Gary holds a BS in business admin from University of Maryland. He is an engaging and dynamic speaker. That's true. He's spoken at the Inc. Leadership Conference. Guys, he was on the front cover of Inc. magazine. Did you guys know that? You saw that in the profile. Yeah. That's not like one of those things, when you go to like Atlantic City and you get like, Golf Digest and there's you with a club. That's actually the real cover of Inc. magazine. He spoke at the Economist Ideas Economy panel. They actually asked me to speak next month. Now, he spoke at South by Southwest, TechCrunch 50, and some others. He also spoke at Harvard Business School, where they're doing a case study on oDesk. And probably the most incredible accomplishment, he is also an advisor to my startup, Vacation Juice. Let's give a warm rock star welcome to the one and only Gary Swart.
Yeah, the ink thing, I don't know if it was good for our business, but it was great for my personal brand. I can't even tell you how many former girlfriends were saying, yeah,
that's what it's all about, buddy.
And the other thing that didn't sound so exciting was to go and meet with those folks and have them poke holes in your business. I call that a VC. So I'm thrilled to be here. I have some business in LA, and Eric and I have been friends. I guess we connected about a year ago, and he said, boy, it'd be great if we could connect and do one of these. So I said, hey, I'm coming to town, and he made it happen. So thanks for the opportunity. As he was introducing me, he said I'm passionate about helping small businesses. At Rational Software and IBM acquired Rational, I ran the sales effort selling our products to SMBs. And I left IBM because I didn't think there was an opportunity to make enough of an impact or really to grow and develop my skills, and actually went to a startup in telebank. But I did that because I was more passionate about starting and being part of something. One, because I thought there was an opportunity for bigger impact, but two, the opportunity to grow and develop. Michael, as you were saying, you learned a lot in that weekend. You're a first-time CEO. You have to grow, because if you don't figure it out, it's not going to work. And experience is what you get when you don't get all the other things you want. And telebank didn't make it, but I got a ton of experience in the process, and that teed me up to be a better CEO at oDesk. So I was passionate about helping businesses, and that's really why I'm here. So I'm not here to try and sell you on using oDesk, although I think everybody should be. And that's all I'm going to say about that. That's the plug. If you have a startup, you should use our business. But I'm here to help you. So what I'd like to do is just old school, write down what it is that you want to talk about. Like, what should we talk about tonight? What's going to make the most out of your time? Because I would love it if you left tonight and said, that was a great use of my time. You tell a friend. You have twice as many people here next month, and this area gets more entrepreneurial as a result of this flywheel starting. So what is it that we're going to talk about tonight?